All right, so we've gotten through the first six chapters of To Kill a Mockingbird. Now we need to take the knowledge that we've gained and we need to see if we can apply it to ourselves. One of the big things having to do with To Kill a Mockingbird is how you never really know someone unless you get around and walk inside their skin for a while. You never know a person until you walk a mile in their shoes. So, how do we know a little bit more about each other? How do we know a little bit more about ourselves? So, what we want to do here is that we want to think about what are those things that people can figure out when they first see us? How does that influence their opinions of us? And what sort of things would they not know if they never got to know us? So, we're going to try a project to see how we can apply this to ourselves. All right, so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to open up Canva. So, this is just a normal website and you can log on to it for free. You can set up a free account using your school email address. So you got to do that first. Then after you do that, what we're going to do is we are going to create a poster. It should be pretty easy because we just click here on create a design. Now I'm not going to go through all the steps of how to do this because one, they'll tell you on the website, but it's also pretty intuitive. Instead, I just want to get to what it is that we want you to do while you're here. So I want to go ahead and look at one of the designs that I've already created for this project and use that as an example of how we want to do this. So I'm going to go over here, I'll check on my designs, and here on my All About Me, we have our example. So what I've done is I've created two posters. The first one is dedicated all to how I look physically and how people might just perceive me just seeing me normally in day-to-day life. So this could involve our physical characteristics. It could involve the way that we dress, just about anything. If you have a favorite shirt or favorite jacket or something, you could use that, for example. Now, I just created just a few really basic things about me to exemplify what we have here. First of all, I have my glasses because I normally wear glasses unless I'm teaching and have to wear a mask, in which case I switch to my contacts. I have blonde because I'm a blonde. I have one on height here because tragically the world has no justice and I'm not the tallest of guys. And then just to throw it in there, I have a picture that I really like of me actually here just reading a book. So this is what I normally would look like. So you could do any number of things. These are just four pictures that I picked. This was a combination of the photos that we can get over here. So I just typed in some search words, and some of the ones that I wanted weren't available, or I wanted an actual specific picture of me. So for those, I just went to upload and I pulled photos that I had and tossed them in here. Now the second poster that we create is a little bit more interesting because we want to add some depth to it. So on this second one, we're going to add things that people wouldn't know just looking at you. So I took a couple of different photos. I have a stock photo of a cat here because I'm a big cat person. I really like cats, so I threw that on there. Here's a picture of my hometown that I decided to put on there. I put a picture of a map because I really like to travel. I've done a lot of traveling and it's been a great experience. So I decided that I wanted that to be something that represents who I am that you wouldn't know just looking at me. I have somebody writing here because I also very much enjoy writing. I've laugh and be happy because I really like laughing and telling jokes and hearing funny things. It's a big part of my personality. And then finally, I have a piece of my past here when I used to live in California. It's a picture of me jumping off of the roof of a house and landing on stunt pads because that's one of the things that I used to do. So I'm going to take all of these, and with this project, I've been able to show a little bit about who I am here and some things that you might not know about me, especially when you first meet me here on the second one. So this is the first thing that I am going to do in regards to this project. So once we finish with our poster, then we need to do a bit of an explanation. Normally I would have students present their work, but given the fact that we are social distancing and the fact that we may not see each other in person at all, it's probably a better idea to just do this over the computer. So we're going to open up a separate document. We're going to set it to standard format, Times New Roman, 12-point font, all of that. And we are going to write one page for each poster giving an explanation. Now, I just did a brief example of this. Instead of doing the one page, I just did a chopped down version. So, for the first one, I talk about the pictures that I have as well as how I think that people interact with me because of the way that I appear. For instance, on days that I dress more formally, I notice that when I go to stores, people are more attentive and they want to try to get my business more than if I just go in my normal dress down appearance. The fact that I look younger than I am and am shorter than a lot of guys also influences the way that people talk to me. So I mentioned a lot of this, kind of crammed it all into one paragraph here instead of spreading it out over a full page and really exploring these ideas. But it's just a general idea to give you kind of an understanding of what we're looking for. So we're going to do the same thing for the second one. This one might be a little bit easier. Generally, the things that people can't tell about us right away make for more interesting stories and give us a lot more to talk about. So I could talk about how I enjoy running, even though I don't look particularly athletic. I could talk about how I like telling jokes, as I kind of mentioned that in my poster. That's a big part of who I am. So whatever you want to talk about that describes who you are as a person, what people might miss about you when they first meet you, or if they just judge you based on your physical appearance, that's what we want to talk about here in our papers. So grand total, this will be 2 pages worth of assignments, but it shouldn't be super difficult because it's over a subject that you probably know a lot about already, which is yourself. So now that we've discussed the activity and everything that goes on with the activity, let's make sure that we're clear on our grading so that everybody knows how to get all of your points for this activity. So if we go down here to grading, this document will be available on Google Classroom, by the way. See, each element of this project is worth 5 points for a total of 20 points. The posters need to contain a minimum of 5 elements, so that's 5 pictures, or you can try to come up with something else that might be incorporated as an element. So if we take a look back at mine, we notice that my top one here only has 4 elements in it. Because these other things, we could talk about the colors and how they mean stuff, but they don't really fit the purpose of something that is supposed to be external. So I wouldn't get all my points for this. So I would need to have at least 5. On my second one, though, I have 6 pictures, so that meets the criteria. So you need to make sure that each one of those has 5 elements, so we can get all 5 points. And then in the papers, you need to clearly explain each element and how you believe they impact your life. So, because I wear glasses, people might assume this about me, or they might have this effect on me, or whatever it is that you want to conclude. We can look at this through your personal experience. You can look at this as through a lens of stereotypes that somebody might have about you. Any number of things can be included in there. So you shouldn't have too much difficulty getting a page out of this. Additionally, for your papers, we want to make sure that we're seeing some progressive writing ability as compared to the introduction papers. And the introduction papers were assignments that we did at the beginning of the year to kind of evaluate where your writing was at. So we want to take a look at those and use those to figure out what exactly it is we need to work on to improve your writing abilities. And we're going to compare these to them. So the grading criteria for this one is a little bit nebulous because it changes for each person. So if you are one of my students, I would come talk to me if you want to know specifically what it is that we're looking for and what it is that we're trying to work on. And remember, if you work really hard at this and you still don't do as well on the papers as you would like to or as you think that you should, you can still redo them. You still have till the end of the unit to redo the assignment. So you can fix those and get a better grade. So hopefully here, you can kind of see our idea and how we wanted to get to that idea, how we wanted to demonstrate it. So we talk a little bit about ourselves, the surface perception that people have about us based on what we look like and what we wear and whatever else it is. And then we talk a little bit about what's below the surface. What would people never know if they don't get a chance to know who you are? How can we understand who somebody is and why they're doing the things that they're doing if we don't actually talk to them, if we don't get to know these things? The more that we understand about somebody and their experiences and their motivations, the more we can understand each other as people, and the more that we can try to bridge those gaps that really divide us as a society and as an entire world. All right, we'll see you again on Chapter 7.